Hello, my name is Tom Hogan. I'm here with Darren Farrader today, and we are doing a second section of a June Cedar Rapids Railfans and Iowa Chapter slideshow. This show is specifically devoted to the Galesburg area. We are pulling another show from the Larry Anglund collection, and we're doing it this weekend in honor of Galesburg Railroad Days, which is going to be occurring when this show is presented. Just as a side note, we certainly hope that when you see this, everyone will have been at yesterday's Grand Mountain Depot Day, and we are hoping for good weather for that. So now Darren is our local expert on the Galesburg terminal, and he is going to be walking us through some slides of the Galesburg area. So Darren, go ahead and get us started here.
So first of all, Larry's shots, we know that he started shooting photos sometime in the late 60s, early 70s, but most of these images are going to be from his digital era. And so they are newer shots. So if you're joining in thinking you're going to see 60s Galesburg, this may not be your program. However, he's got a lot of good stuff here. So we'll start off here with this track inspection train that's obviously sitting at the depot, facing kind of toward the southwest. GP, what is it, 50? 60. Looks like a 60 there. So looks like he's just tying up the depot for the evening or whatever, but it's not unusual to see this kind of stuff sitting there on that depot track. I think that's Depot 2. All right. This is an interesting photo. I don't know where he shot this in Galesburg, if it was something that was passing through, but I have not ever seen this locomotive sitting there, so I'm not sure if this is actually in Galesburg or if this is somewhere in that region, but based upon the cab, it almost looks like it might have been a Paducah locomotive.
Yes, a rebuild.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is pretty likely because it has a Cascades engines on there. Amtrak was doing a lot of testing of the ATC system between Chicago and Galesburg, so they were running an extra back and forth. Although because it has the 4 cars, it could easily be one of the Carl Sandburg or the Illinois Zephyr coming in, or actually heading out. It's going away from us based on the signals and the red markers on the Cascades engine, but. Seems like it might have more likely been the test train, but hard to say.
Yes, was this their test train for the positive train control system?
Yes, I said ATS, but yeah, positive PTC is what I meant to say.
Yes,
yeah.
ATC is what the UP uses.
Yes, right.
Yes,
yeah, we don't want to get those two confused. And people like those executive locomotives, the Grinstein Green.
Yes, they're becoming quite rare, actually.
Well, it's funny when you watch something like those, the videos that are, the various rail cams around, and it seems like whenever they have their grab bag, every single one of these that moves around gets highlighted now. So, it was not one of my favorite colors, but I'm glad they're out there. That's good. That's variety.
They are patched. They are patched to Bnsf now.
And the second unit has a little bit different scheme than the first. If you look, you can see that the numbers are in different places, and the Bnsf is in 2 different spots. So 2 different units. That's good.
Looks like we're moving an empty coal train here.
Yeah, it looks like you're maybe out around Graham area somewhere. Oh, I like these. The old Oakways, the 9000s are pretty cool locomotives. This is a nice consist, and GP15 back there. So you can see the Caterpillar stuff out of Peoria. I'm not sure exactly where this is. My guess is it's also probably on the former BN line based upon where the image is at, but I like those. Nothing better than those Jeep 60Ms in this day and age. I really like the war bonnet units. Of all the colors they could have chosen, I wish they would have continued to use that one.
Yes, and an empty bear table move too.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. This is a shot at the depot, obviously. GP30 in the lead, probably by this point is probably considered GP39. And some other friends back there. Actually, both the last units have a BNSF markings on them, of course, but
yeah, kind of a grab bag of power here for this move.
Nice. This is a throwback to the 70s with all this stuff.
No kidding.
Yeah, very good.
And quite a bit of
more cat power, more cat stuff back there. Although based on the direction of this train, he's heading more toward Peoria. Isn't this guy coming into town? I think this is a westbound.
Yes, I think you may be right. So wherever they're headed, yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is well, this might have been the same train that was shown before, but moving the other direction. He's getting ready to turn around. So this is the Quincy. This must be the Quincy train, and this Cascade engines was used for several days on there. But this guy is obviously in the lead and heading. You can see the depot area kind of in the background. So this is an eastbound. So apparently this Cascade unit was used quite a bit on the Quincy train, and it's probably not the train that was used to test the signal systems.
Was it common for them to run double-headed on these?
It's not unusual that you see the cabbage cars. Sometimes you'll see two Genesis engines on there. It's not unusual for two locomotives because they're not turning the train every time down in Quincy. There was a time that they turned it, but now they use it as kind of a pull operation. But sometimes it's a cabbage, sometimes it's two units, and sometimes they're both on line. Lately, with their new units, I can't think what they call the
Chargers.
The Chargers. Then they've been running one that I've been seeing on the webcams, but I don't catch it every day. So, yeah, nice. Oh, Jeep 60Bs.
Mm-hmm. The Bnsf the BN was kind of famous for these B units, the SD40Bs and the Jeep Bs.
They're one of the few roads that really did Bs up until the very end. You know, there's not a lot of roads that were doing B units. So I always liked them, of course, in the silver, but this looks pretty good on there. I'll give them credit for that. Needs a wash, but what unit doesn't anymore?
Yes.
This looks like it's in Burlington, based upon the train sheds in the background. So I'm assuming this is probably going to be an eastbound train. Can't tell you much more about it. SD60M, of course.
Yes. Commerce. It's got on the.
Oh yeah.
Written on the frame.
I don't know if Commerce is. I mean, obviously where it does its servicing, but I've never seen one marked that way. So this looks to be Cameron, Illinois. Lots of power on this train.
Oh yes.
People get hung up about what color Bnsf orange is. I would say you've got every example of it there with sun fading, whatever else. And of course, the executive unit in the back there. So yeah, nice, good catch, Larry.
Nice side-by-side shot.
Yeah, based upon the fact that the 522 doesn't have headlights on, I'm thinking he's being run around. But yeah, good color shots, nice angles. All right. Oh, all NS power. This looks to also be on the former BN, and so probably over by the Y, the Cameron connection, because you can see some cars in the back left.
Yes. I
don't know if it's part of the same train. I'm not sure about that angle, but
it's another one of. We've had 2 months in a row now where people have pointed out these top hat NS units.
Yeah.
That we're now running 3 months consecutively. That for as rare as they are, everybody seems to have photos of them lately.
Well, they have the right one in front. I'll give them that. That's nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. So this looks like the back of obviously one of the two, either the Southwest Chief or the California Zephyr. This is an eastbound train going past the church on the passenger connection for cars.
I like the Katy drumhead there.
Yeah.
And then,
well, you've got the
Milwaukee Road Dome. Yeah.
So those are the cars that come off the 261.
Yes.
And I'm not sure that the second car behind the dome. I'm not sure what car that is.
I don't recognize that one either.
Very nice.
But yes, this was.
Looks like a very difficult way to travel, doesn't it?
A little bit.
All right. I'm lost as to where this location. This could be on the line down to Peoria.
That's what I was going to say. Down on the.
Yeah, I think this is the Peoria line going south, but.
I couldn't really identify what that equipment was.
No,
but
I would assume it's just more Caterpillar stuff, but I'm not sure about that. So here's another example. Well, this is interesting. So this is Superliner cars. I could be maybe an abbreviated. Something happened and they ran a section of the California Zephyr ahead of time. The fact that it has a lounge is a bit confusing. Maybe it was a train down to Quincy. Sometimes you see Superliners on there, not real often, but during really busy times or around holidays and so on. You know, if maybe this was Christmas time. I don't know for sure. But
there is snow on the ground.
Yeah, I have seen Superliners on the Quincy train, but the lounge is throwing me slightly. Maybe it was something they had laying around Chicago and they ran them out and back for the night. But
right.
Also, sometimes if the California Zephyr is really late, I have seen occasionally there'll be a train that they'll use as kind of a makeup train out of Denver. So I don't know.
So let's talk about something else here too. We got in the background there the A plant east, and we're going to see B plant east later on also.
So in earlier times there was the Academy plant was in this area, and then it later on became A plant. We're in the area where the old Seminary Street Tower was, but yeah, now called A plant. There was an area called Academy, which was on the passenger line, and so I think this is all just kind of ties that together.
Right.
This looks to be an inbound, eastbound or westbound train, just probably about the area where I think the new bridge is around Main Street, and the line cuts off and goes up towards Savannah. But is that third unit say KCS on there?
I believe so.
I think so.
It's a gray ghost.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And we've got, so the signal bridge is fascinating to me also, because you've got the really high signal masts for the inbound trains, and then you've got just the signal heads mounted.
Right. That was a very cute thing to do, and I don't know why. In some cases, I mean, you can see signal bridges in the same installation, the same plant, and they'll have some of them mounted on the bridge low, like we're seeing here, and some of the tall ones. Around the Chicago area, you saw a lot of the taller ones, and I'm not sure if it had something to do with the fact that we're kind of going over a hill here a little bit as they go up towards Bishop. I've never heard a rhyme or reason for that. So, but you see them, ever since the searchlights went in, that was the way they were. And then even in the days earlier than that, where there might have been the tri-lights and some semaphores, it varied. So. Oh, the 3006. It's a Hudson Class S4, and been on display in Galesburg for a long time. Of course, this is one of the several that are preserved. We know there's one in Burlington and Ottumwa, and one now in Union. But I don't know if people know this, but when the 261 locomotive had the potential of not being continued in service, that group was looking for a different locomotive, and the S4 class was considered because there was several of them around. And so obviously the 261 was brought back to life, but there was a chance that maybe one of the Q Hudsons was going to come back. So would have been kind of interesting. But.
So this class of engine was run around after the end of steam in excursion service.
There was one of them that did survive that. The rest of them were stored for a long time in Galesburg. In fact, a lot of the locomotives that went into preservation areas or donations sat in Galesburg a long time, and there were several excursions that were run, from Chicago out, and a lot of the guys crawled all over these things. You'll see them when you find photos of excursions that came into Galesburg. They always made a point to go over to the roundhouse and crawl all over this stuff. So
yeah,
but this is one of the few that you don't see a lot of photos of in service. You see a lot of the 3003, and of course you see a lot of the Alice the Goon and the S4A class. But this particular engine is one you just don't see a lot of shots of it in service. So nice.
Yep.
Here's another angle of it with the museum in the background. It's a pretty nice museum. They've done a great job there, I think, with preservation and lots of good information and so on. And of course they've have some full-size equipment as we've looked at here, and it's a nice way to spend a couple of hours.
Yes, and it's going back to Galesburg Railroad days again. All this is going to theoretically
be open.
Be open. You can walk through the cattle locomotive. You can walk through the caboose. You can walk through that the passenger
RPO.
coach or the RPO. Yes, that it's connected to.
Right.
Yep, and that's all stuff that if you go down to Galesburg specifically for Galesburg Railroad days, that this is all available for people to see.
For sure. So here's a shot of which actually the third depot in Galesburg. The first one is one that you can't find a lot of images but there are some. And then of course the second depot is the big brick structure that with the division orifices and so on. And this is the newest one. Now this is showing it in sort of its first configuration, and now some of these the alcoves have been closed off and enclosed. So it looks a little different than this now. So.
Yeah, they've got a big glass windowed area around the right side of the depot
it's
now.
Real nice. It's real nice. Good shot from the world's longest, or I should say, Illinois' longest bridge not over a river is in Galesburg.
Yes.
So this is good place to shoot. Oh, lots of neat power in there. There's 40-2s and.
So this is looking down at the service area,
right.
Service tracks in the Galesburg terminal.
Yep. GP40X. So.
SD45 down there.
Yeah, that's a Jeep. That's a Jeep 40.
Oh, Jeep 40. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, mandatory stop always when you're in Galesburg. Farmers Co-op in Minden, Nebraska. You know, there's so many of these types of elevators and conglomerates that put together their own, paint schemes on hopper cars. I think those are, people who are collectors of images or even collectors of models. It's always an interesting thing to find photos and examples of all these little elevators, cars.
Yes, and kind of in BN colors, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Or CB&Q colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, yes.
This must be taken kind of along the passenger line. You can see the row manufacturing in the back was one of the industries that was more along the passenger bypass.
Yes, but modelers rejoice everywhere when they get to see these private hoppers.
Yeah, that's great. Obviously, some kind of a transformer load taken under the 4th Street Bridge. I have no idea where it's going, but
I don't either. But that green cylinder on the side I found fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
I don't know
it looks
what
like
that's...
it even has regulators on the top. I don't know. Huh. Oh, big loads. This is back down in Burlington.
Yep, we got a Santa Fe on the front and a Bnsf patch in the back, but both war bonnets.
Yeah, they're kind of fading, but I'm glad they're fighting it. Hold it out.
521 and 512 even.
Yeah.
So
they only had 3 numbers in the decal set.
Yeah, apparently.
I'll obviously have 40-2 in the lead, but I can't quite tell where this is exactly.
Well, I think this is the same spot that we were looking at about 15 slides ago.
Okay.
It was, it's outside of town, but heading.
Yeah, I think it could be heading west on the former BN line. It doesn't look like it's on the Santa Fe line.
No.
Nice. Wow, interesting variety of things here between the UP Power and then the slug set. Maybe it's on its way. To get some servicing done. I don't know. Does West Burlington do anything anymore? I'm not sure that there's any action at West Burlington.
I'm not 100% sure. I assumed it was a ferry move to get the switch engine power to some terminal that needed it.
Could be. Also, maybe it was going to Elby or something. I'm not sure about that. So.
Probably just finished being serviced, if I would guess.
Looks pretty good, pretty clean.
Yes.
So this is obviously one of the two, the Zephyr or the Southwest Chief westbound train.
Got some pretty nice looking P42s for this
clean.
one.
I'm not sure what he was looking at here other than just a nice winter shot, if there's anything unusual. It's a fairly short train, it looks like. Maybe 6 cars, maybe 7 cars. So it was pretty normal to have 8 superliners, at least in the recent years, on that train. So
yes.
I can't
but
see
it gives you an idea of the terminal area, the passenger loading area.
It's the second unit, number 5. Can you see that?
Yes,
okay.
It is.
Yeah.
Some of the numbering is faded off of it.
It's always a good place to shoot, this train in the evening because the sun angle is really
right.
great.
Afternoon departure from Union Station.
Yeah. Wow, this is sort of a throwback train if you didn't have the paint colors, but 40-2s everywhere.
There was a huge deal made when there was a set of these that ran, standard cabs that ran down to Ottumwa a couple months ago, and this, this is an older shot, but definitely similar.
Yeah, no, you think of the 40-2s being built in the early 70s. These units are, 50 years old and still in service. That's pretty incredible.
Yep.
It says to the quality of EMD. I had a friend who worked for a company that did power generation, and he said, boy, if you had any of the EMD, 16645 engines, which is basically what's in these, they were just
the engine blocks.
You couldn't kill them. They were amazing locomotives, amazing prime movers.
Yeah. Well, and that's in my time with the IC&E. That's exclusively what we ran. Were SD 40-2s on road trains, and you string enough of them together, you can move just about anything.
Right. You couldn't kill them. Reliable enough. Nice variety of power here.
We've got just about everything.
Yeah.
We got NS, UP, KCS, Santa Fe, BNSF.
Another BNSF. can't tell what that last locomotive is. Looks to be a little smaller, like
Yeah, it's a standard cab, I think. There.
GP40 or something, maybe.
Sure.
GP38.
But yes, a little bit of everything here.
And there's that same signal we
Right.
were talking about earlier. This is all, now of course. Well, I guess it's 3-track here too, but this is 3-track all the way out to Bishop Hill now.
Yes.
Almost to Watauga. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, GP38.
So is this a lease engine that they just didn't completely repaint?
I think so.
Kind of like the Oakways.
Yeah.
And it has a very Oakway feel to it, although it's clearly not.
I don't know if
the
this
same.
was like a Helm engine. There's a lot of guys who pay attention to this a little bit more than I do.
Yeah.
If we'd have pulled out the 1970s and early 80s Galesburg, I probably could have given you a lot more detail about all those. But
Yes.
So taken at the engine facility here. So this is a set of hump power. There was 3 sets of these that ran around for the longest time. I think there's still a couple of sets working Galesburg, but yep, just hump power. They were trimming out some of those fuel hopper or fuel tanks that always park over there on that west side.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, they actually run their own fuel operation. They bring in fuel oil in tank cars. They refill these silos that are up here in the top of the field of the camera, and they literally ship their fuel
Right.
by rail.
Right.
And then this is part of the operation, is switching out these fuel tanks.
Yep. So this looks to be westbound out. Well, that's interesting.
It's
this
loaded.
It's loaded. Oh, I'm sorry. Highway.
This
Old
is-
34 is
This
across
is
it.
eastbound.
This is definitely eastbound.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's between Galesburg and Watauga.
Yes.
Yeah, I missed the highway in the background, and then of course seeing a coal loads. A couple more of the executive colored scheme, doing what they were doing best.
Oh yeah.
So here's a cabbage on the. It looks like a southbound, westbound Illinois Zephyr. Although based upon the sunshine, it's possible that this is actually the Carl Sandburg, because the sun is to the east. So this would be the train that ran to Quincy. At this moment, that's been annulled, but it sounds like it's going to be reinstated back in service here.
Yeah, I
with
think
the
they're
new Amtrak plan.
resuming. Yeah, they've got a new Amtrak plan to resume most of all their services, including the state-sponsored services.
Yes.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about the origin of these cabbage
Well, they're
cars?
basically just F40 PHs that they had removed the prime movers from, and then created a baggage area. They have a roll top door on the side, and the crews appreciated them because, one, they were super quiet versus a standard F40, which screamed at full RPM all the time to create the head end power.
Yep.
Certainly more protection because you're sitting higher, and then the full control stand for operating. So it was like running a standard locomotive without all the screaming noise.
Yes.
So.
And then this is a rear train. It's got the red markers on for the rear of the
Yeah,
train.
so he's going away from us. You
Yeah.
can see the Genesis unit on the other end. So.
Yeah. But yes, these were all replaced by Genesis units for power.
Yes, although it's not unusual, you'll still see them out there. The cabbages are still around.
Right.
But yeah, they had gazillions and gazillions of miles on them. This is an interesting car. This is the Siri Hotel. This car was originally built as a standard dome, and then they added the rear platform after it went into excursion service. Looks like there's a whole bunch of cars in the end of this train. That's
Well, the Sierra Hotel is a 2-car set. I believe.
there's more, but then there's additional low-level cars there. So it looks like this was some kind of a move, either of private cars on the rear of, one of the cross-country trains, or maybe it was an independent move of the private car owners group. I'm not sure about that. Maybe there's some other images of it coming up.
There are, yeah.
Okay. So here comes one of this is probably the Quincy train that's in the morning that's going into Chicago based upon the sun angle and so on, but the Illinois Zephyr. This has all been kind of modified again. The A plant area has been changed, where there's now 2 ways for the train to come in off of the Quincy line. In fact, well, that's the way it was in the earlier days. There was actually 2 different ways to come in. You could either come in and utilize what I would call kind of track 7, and then they modified it with 2 tracks through, and then now that they've added that third main back out there again, they've modified this whole plant, and so this is the way it looked up until a couple years ago with its modifications.
Yeah, so he's coming off of the single main
Correct.
to Quincy onto the double main here in front of the terminal.
Right. So he came around he bypassed the yard on the line up from Quincy. This also goes down towards Peoria.
Yeah. This spot is actually also known as the Peoria Y, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't heard that. I always think of it as just the area around Seminary Tower, but I have seen, even recently, occasionally if there's something blocking the passenger line off to the right that you can see in the image, I've seen both the California Zephyr and the Southwest Chief utilize this line, and then they go south to the bottom end of the yard and around across on the line over to Graham then.
To completely bypass the traffic.
Yeah, so they can't, to get around this, because sometimes the through trains will park over there on the siding and block the line. So
right.
Yeah, cool. Wow.
So this was a what do you want to call it?
Well, I would call it, it's obviously a gen set, but
right.
I don't know.
A demonstrator engine for this style.
Okay. Yeah, this one looks like three generator units inside.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you much more about it. At first glance, it looks like the trucks almost are off something like an SDL 39 or something, but
yeah,
I don't know. Very interesting. So here's another one of the Class S4 Hudsons. This is the one down in Burlington, 3003. Now this is the locomotive that probably ran the most in the excursion services later on, and I think it was one of the last Hudsons that actually ran under fire for the Burlington.
Yes.
So
I think I had some photos of this engine in a previous slideshow that I did.
Okay.
Off of running the line between La Crosse and East Dubuque and Savannah, area.
Okay.
Yep.
So some kind of a slug built out of, I assume it was just a Jeep.
It looks like maybe a Jeep 9 or a Jeep 9. Yeah. But these, the air compressor tanks are kind of a giveaway.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if those are filled with. I've never seen inside of one if they're filled with, old rail and metal weights, or if they're filled with concrete. I don't know when they produce something like this. I don't know what they use as the weight.
Well, I think the area that's this hanging down here where the fuel tank would have been, I think that's where they ballast it.
Yeah, but but all of this, you don't think any of this part of it behind the lettering and so on is also a lot of weight?
Oh, sure, it could be, but there's got to be some electronics in there too.
I suppose. But they're just basically getting power from their mate, so I don't know. I don't know what would really need to be in there other than some wiring for some lights. So this looks to be either the same shot we saw before. Did the other shot of the inspection train have the?
This is a different. Okay. This is a different engine on the inspection train.
Same two sets of cars.
Yeah.
I never noticed until now, but there's a pop out there in the rear where the crew can look ahead, like you would have on the side of a bay window caboose. Yeah. So.
But yes, it almost looks like it's repainted to Santa Fe with the patch of the Bnsf lettering on it.
I don't know. It's weird. Somebody buffed it up certainly pretty nicely.
Yeah.
So this was taken actually from the cab of the steam locomotive on display, and Operation Lifesaver, one of those one of their multitudes of unusual paint schemes.
Yes.
So you can still see the brick platform there that was between between the depot and tracks 1 and 2, depot tracks 1 and 2.
So these box cars that are back here with all the standard design to them, they look a lot like the old Amtrak box cars.
Oh, I think they were the manufacturer's railway cars that hauled beer out of St. Louis.
Ah, yes.
So they look like the manufacturer railway cars.
Yep.
But you're right, the Amtrak cars had very similar design.
Mm-hmm.
There's another shot of the Sierra Hotel.
This time this car is by itself, but on the rear of maybe one of the long-distance trains.
Right.
But
looks like a terrible way to spend the afternoon, doesn't it?
I know, or like a week.
Yeah.
Just take a round trip.
It's awful. Oh, this is nice. Looks like one of the locals. I'm not sure exactly where it's at in this shot, but nice killer light.
Do you suppose that this is the This is the Galesburg to Clinton local? Well, no, because they would not have run that up with 6-axle power.
Yeah.
I see now that second one is an SD40.
I'm not sure.
They would not have... Yeah, they don't run 6 axles up to Clinton.
I'm sure there'll be somebody out there who can comment specifically what this train is.
Right.
Much more than I'm going to know on it. All right. I like old CB&Q signal bridges. This is great.
Yes. East Bristol
All right.
is where we're at here.
Okay. But you can see on these now, this particular set of signals is on the posts up higher in the air.
Yes.
So I don't know the rhyme or reason. It was nothing I ever understood when it came to this design of the.
Well, your line of sight argument does make some.
Yeah, and of course,
sense.
The Burlington is certainly a roller coaster railroad when you really stare down the right of way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Santa Fe was the same way, but they didn't. They followed the contour of the land.
Yeah.
So. Watauga.
Now this is.
So Watauga. There was a crossover from one main to the other. This was also where the old Galesburg and Great Eastern came in, which was a coal hauling road that only went over about about 8 miles or so over to the east, and they got coal out of something called the Little John Mine. That was in Watauga. That was an active steam road up until sometime in the mid '60s, and then they used a couple of, I think they were 44 tonners to haul coal over to the Burlington.
I mean, looking at the way the signals are structured here, it looks like it should be protecting a diamond, but it's not.
Well, there's a crossover here.
There's a crossover there.
That's it. But no diamond here. Nothing crossed in Watauga.
Right.
So is this an empties here? It looks like.
Yeah, and I think these are some of the ST70 Aces. These are some of the newest.
Very good. Oh, another shot of the inspection train with a different unit yet.
Mm-hmm.
So this was, I think this is obviously a rail defect car.
Well, yeah, you can see some of the inspection equipment hanging from the bottom of the car.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know what's in the car ahead, if it's just supplies,
monitoring equipment, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Never seen this particular car, the Federal.
Yes.
It has some sort of a Baltimore, Ohio type scheme. A lot of those heavyweight cars, the Pullman cars, were all built under some of the similar plans, and so unless you really know a lot about maybe the possibility of underbody detail and so on, you're not always sure whose car they could have been.
Right.
So,
but this is.
It's got an Amtrak number on the side with an 800,000 numbers. It means it's certainly Amtrak qualified. So.
Right.
And it's obviously on the rear of one of the long distance trains.
Yes.
On an eastbound. Sorry, what was throwing me off is the large size of the font of the Bnsf on the side of that locomotive.
Some kind of a ballast train or riprap train.
Yep, it's got a conveyor. Isn't this one of the ones that has the conveyor that runs all the way through?
I think so. Yep. Yeah, it's a mated set that they don't take them apart. Yeah, I was trying to read what. So it says Burlington Northern down there, but then they have BNSF.
Right. It's just I've never seen the large font on the side of the cab like that. Usually what you'd see is it's just not as pronounced.
Right. So, usually it's about half that height.
Yeah. Right. So here's another genset unit under warranty. What's that say? Under
Excludes
warranty.
Trucks.
Okay. Well.
Yes. But yes, this one. So they call it 3GS21C. Okay. But this is definitely another one of those genset.
So is 3GS mean 3 generator set?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So it looks like SD40 trucks, doesn't it?
It does.
Not even -2s, just
SD40 trucks. Yep.
Fascinating. It's got a horn on each end. It appears as though none of the gensets are running currently. It looks like all of the caps are down.
Right. I'm guessing that these are getting ferried. Oh, and it's a remote control.
Sure.
Remote control equipped also.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that these are getting ferried out to California because that was one of the first places where they were testing these gensets.
My goodness, here's some sort of a serious special move with a Schnabel car.
Mm-hmm.
You look at all the silver trucks under that thing.
Well, look at the pressure vessel that they've got back there loaded up.
Wow.
And then I'm assuming these containers must be equipment to go with the vessel, but I'm pretty sure they've actually got 2 cranes loaded
Now, I think this is one of those cars that they can shift the load. So if you have a tighter spot, around curves and so on, you can actually, I think you can swing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can swing the center part one way or another to help you with clearances and so on. But I'm betting this guy had some special orders that he couldn't meet trains on curves and some of that stuff. So.
Oh yeah, and a brand new. I mean, look at how shiny silver.
Pretty shiny underframe, isn't it?
Yeah. He had not seen very many miles
spray
yet.
paint out there.
Yes.
Same guy did the trucks on the Schnabel car.
Right.
So is that the EMD 92 there?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So this kind of gives you a real idea of the scope of the Galesburg terminal.
Yeah, just the locomotive side of it. Really.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're seeing the shops down there and so on, and the overpass we talked about earlier. And this is taken from the 4th Street Bridge looking south,
mm-hmm.
or maybe a little bit southwesterly. But so some kind of a transfer move that has come in and is negotiating around, or maybe they're just moving some things around the terminal.
Yeah.
Another one of those locals. I wonder if this was a local that went over to like Burlington or something. Although now this just has 4-axle power.
This one is all 4-axle power. I'd be willing to bet you a couple dollars that this is a Clinton local, heading up toward Alpha, maybe in that direction.
Could be. So this guy.
This is a pretty unique one.
Yeah, I think it's still a slug. There's no prime movers in there, obviously, because there's not any exhaust and so on. But looking at the underframe, it was built probably out of an old SD9 or SD7. Put the switcher cab on it.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about the 250 from a detail standpoint like that. So.
No, but this screams like a shop job.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Yeah, it's not the most attractive locomotive, let's just say. But you know what? If you are a modeler and like this kind of thing, go for it. I think it's terrific. So obviously some kind of a John Deere load. I like loads like this. This is pretty cool. I can think of an Iowa City-based modeler who loves loads like this. And it's pretty cool.
Sure we're in East Moline here.
Okay.
Coming out of the Harvester Works.
Okay. I assume this is on the same train based on the background, Caterpillar stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, flat car loads are neat, and just the study and how all the different dunnages are done. I mean, you can see that the wooden box behind the Caterpillar tracks there are supported in certain ways, and there's a whole interesting booklet on how you do support and dunnage for flat cars and for hoppers and all kinds of things, or gons, I should say. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's changed a lot over the years, but there's a lot of fascinating research and study that have been done on how to secure loads the best. So for shifting, and you can imagine, freight cars, you can bang into a freight car up to walk speed 4 miles an hour. So can you imagine lots of heavy weight and bashing into these things, and even with cushion couplers and so on, you've got to really figure out how to tie all that stuff down.
Yeah.
8128.
Yes.
Looks pretty standard.
Yep.
Not terribly dirty.
But yes, safety cab design here, but yes.
All right, so this is another one of those odd deals where I think that, he's just come around the corner past the old Seminary Street Tower, the Academy plant. Looks like he's swinging toward the south. So this is probably one of the trains to Quincy with the superliners. Probably around holiday time again, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas. But they get larger capacity trains, so I'm guessing that's what's going on here.
Yeah, that and having the single unit in front.
Right. You need to throw a little snow on the front of that 37 and clean the nose off a little bit.
No kidding. Sides too, for that matter.
So another shot of the engine terminal taken from the overpass.
Mm-hmm.
UP-8 down there, and other kinds of fun things. It's always interesting to me what happens kind of in that, what would be in the top center of the photo or the deadline. When you travel around, there's always interesting power sitting over there, but not a lot of foreign roads in here today. There's some kind of a funny slug parked in the first track on the left.
Mm-hmm.
But staring around, sometimes you'll see KCS power, and there's something. This looks like a leaser back here. It's blue. Something's blue.
Yes. I think that this is a spot where when you see people take photos of the Galesburg terminal and the engine tracks, this is a perspective that you get, or similar to this. A lot of times when people drive over and see that foreign power or unique power in here.
It's always interesting, this terminal through the years has hosted, every possible locomotive, it seems. But, I think about the days when you had, Illinois terminal, and you had, Louisville and Nashville, and of course all the merger roads with BN, and this terminal has seen a lot in its years for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, Burlington Junction.
Yes.
So is the assumption here this is down in Burlington probably?
I think so. This is.
I can't tell exactly where it's at, but unless it was ferried between something, is it possible that we're maybe over towards Mount Pleasant?
Well, does Burlington Junction have a contract with Bnsf to do servicing on their power?
I would imagine they probably get it done. Yeah, I don't know where else it would go unless, again, maybe it goes over to Elby or something. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, this could easily be some ferrying move just to have some work done.
Right. But yeah, so they do have some kind of unique switch engines here.
It's fun to see it a little bit higher in the air and look at all the stuff on the top.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool. One of the Surfliner cars probably being ferried back. It's not unusual to see these other cars, being moved back to Indiana to get some servicing done. There's maybe some stuff in Chicago.
Yep. So lots of ferry moves to Beech Grove for these. But
they're, if you look at them a little closer, they're not exactly superliners because they have the two sets of doors for quick loading and unloading in California. And I don't know if their seats are close. I'm assuming because there's really a short distance car that their seats are probably closer together on the inside. I've never ridden a Surfliner train versus a standard superliner or long distance car that has them a little further apart. Oh.
Well, so this one's got some Santa Fe power.
It's got some help, and again, it's a single unit on 3 cars. So is this a Quincy train that's had some failure? I don't know.
Had to send an engine down to bail them out.
Right. And then the question becomes: is if you had to bail out the unit, does that mean there was no head-end power? So is the train empty? The door is open. So I'm guessing that this thing is parked. It doesn't even look like, looking in the rear of the wheel set, it doesn't look like it's even ridden through there. So I don't know what the story behind that is.
Yeah, unless if they parked it there for someone to come and do some repairs.
It's all coaches.
Right.
So it looks like this guy's been bucking a few drifts.
Yes. They definitely came through some snow on his way into town here.
And again, there's some, I don't know if those are the same cars that were there in the other shot, the passenger cars.
Oh, maybe. Going by the same spot.
Yeah, maybe something happened with because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So, fascinating.
There's a lot of snow on the ground in this picture.
Yeah, there is.
Yep. So now this is interesting because they're clearly plowing snow,
I think
but they're pulling the ditcher.
Yeah, the Jeep 30 is doing a little more work there than...
Yes.
That's a really great shot.
I feel like they've got the train going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
It should be utilizing the equipment that they have available.
That always reminds me of like those guys on the IC that are bucking drifts and all those cuts, across northern Iowa. And pretty cool. It's a great shot. So is this possibly the same one that we saw before?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, and you can actually see the radiators totally frozen over.
Yeah, well, and it looks like at least the 669 is running. It looks like there's a little bit of whiff of some smoke there, but I don't think the other unit is. So,
yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy needs to go into a shop somewhere and get thawed out.
There was some problems there, I think. Oh, snow.
So, yes, this is the BNSF's rotary, one of their rotary snow plows.
Right. I don't know. For a while, I think this was stored in West Burlington, but I'm not sure where its home base is now. If it's Lincoln, does it say anywhere on the side? No, it doesn't.
No.
Doesn't it? But of course, the B unit is used as the power for the motors inside of the rotary.
Yes.
So those travel as a pair.
Do we know the heritage of that B unit?
I feel like they were former Great Northern, but I don't know that for sure. I feel like they were Great Northern engines. Oh, one of the Herzog devices.
Well, yeah, but look what he's doing. He's literally loading
he's taking snow. Right. You know,
So-
that lead unit that they have there is about the ugliest beast. I'm afraid. I can't get into that. Being a modeler, I just hope I never really see one of these things. They're so awful.
Yes.
But
yeah.
but it's functional, obviously.
Uh-huh.
So
No, they're definitely going out clearing
Yeah.
snow in one of the blizzards that hit central Illinois.
I remember once, and I can't think what railroad did it, but they would fill hopper cars and gondolas full of snow, and then they just run them out west until they would melt.
I've read that about the Rock Island.
Oh, the Rock Island.
Yeah, they would load snow in Chicago in that area
just
and
take 'em west.
run them down to Tucumcari and
Okay.
let it melt and then run them back as empties.
Huh.
Yeah, I've definitely read about that.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Clay siding switch. So clay is you can see looks like a train coming at us in the very lower left hand side, but clay is the siding between Galesburg and Cameron on the passenger main. And this is the siding that I was mentioning earlier that sometimes gets bogged down and the trains have to cut through the yard in a different way to get around the mess here. So
Yep.
another shot of all the snow there and the rotaries, and there's that slug we saw earlier. Lots of power sitting around. You know, you got to think about all the people who work in this kind of weather all the time. I've always had jobs where I could be indoors, but you got to give a lot of guys credit who tromp through this stuff day in and day out. And between days like today, it's going to be in the 90s, and days where it's 20 below. So for all the people who work outside, hats off to you, because it's it's not all glamour. It's not all 70 degrees and beautiful. I'm sure of that.
Cleaning out ice-filled switches is a pretty miserable task.
Well, I think
that's
about
for sure.
guys who get, are bucking drifts and they get trapped in the cabs literally because of the snow. They just can't get the doors open. And
Yeah.
so this is in Kewanee. So again, this is probably one of the Quincy trains that he went out and got. Looks like mostly coaches. This last car here has got the door in the bottom, so it's technically a coach baggage. But
Yep.
no.
And it's again probably a higher capacity holiday time
That's
move.
what I'm guessing, just based on the snow. Oh, so this is the Fra Test Vehicle. I've seen this go through kind of all over the place. There may be more than one, but the DOT cars. Usually, when I see them, they seem like they have a buffer, like a one of those cars like they use for ethanol trains, where they've got the hopper car that's filled full of, I don't know, sand or concrete or whatever, but
Rock.
rock, yeah. So this was obviously probably part of the Galesburg depot, although it looks to me that the units it's attached to says CSX on the rear.
It does.
So
They might have just handed it off and ran the power
Right.
through.
Yeah.
Never know.
Yep.
Everybody's trying to pay back horsepower hours to everybody else.
Right.
That just let it go.
Oh, the KCS.
Yes.
With this upcoming merger, regardless of where it ends up going, I'm going to miss that scheme. I think that was one of the more clever things done in the most recent years.
Yeah, that
But-
bell scheme for the...
Yeah. But when you look at this, really it's sort of a testament to heritage colors between the BN stuff and the Santa Fe stuff, and
Yep,
and of course the KCS with its Southern Bell.
absolutely.
Yeah, nice find. Morning shot. So once again, here's superliners on the Quincy train. So I mentioned it's not unusual, and based on these shots, it happened more than I think. So
Yes.
no, but this doesn't appear to be winter, but one never knows. Maybe it's end of the school year or something, or start of the school year
Right.
for all those colleges along this line.
This is a neat shot with all these Caterpillar flat cars.
Yeah.
These excavators are... I don't know how often they run, obviously, but just kind of like the tractor moves we get through here in Cedar Rapids with the Deere tractors. It's nice to catch them when you do.
With Deere stuff, they say that if they're on the flat car, of course, they're going somewhere not within the U.S.
Right, for export.
Right,
Yep.
and so is Caterpillar the same way? Are all these exports? I've never really heard how their stuff is handled. If they travel by truck, if it's domestic, it'd be something I'd be curious to read people's comments about. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one for...
And then, and is the first unit on this train, is that one of the ones that has, isn't there a big deal about one of the units that has all just the gold lettering on the side versus the black? I would like to see another shot of this and see if that's the unit that only has the gold lettering. There's one of those, or a couple of those, I think, that run around that people are always excited about. So
yeah, perhaps. Windmill Train.
Yeah. So is the assumption that this guy maybe came out of down around Fort Madison area? Because, they still put together some wing trains down there.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen one of these for a long time.
Yep, all windmill blades.
Yeah. Very cool. The 91, I think that's one of the ones we saw in one of the earlier shots.
Yeah, I think we saw the 92.
Oh, was it the 92?
But
okay.
this 91 and 92 were running around as demonstrators for a while.
All right.
Yep. So this is, yeah. Was this the last thing that they put out before they got purchased?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Or sold, or however you want to describe it.
When Caterpillar then took over and they painted one, did they paint one of these? I don't know. I don't. The Caterpillar one, I'm not sure what number that one is now that I think about it. I think it's a 4-digit number. But.
I feel like this was either one of the last things they did before they were sold or one of the first products right after.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that answer.
But yes, these are definitely the demonstrators for the SD70 ACEs.
Yeah.
Is that? I don't see a designation on the side there, but I'm pretty sure. Looking at the, because it's got the big Tier 4.
Those are long units, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Galva.
Yes. Another nice Q signal bridge here.
You bet.
Yep.
Oh, this is interesting. The FRA cars in the rear being ferried by the.
2 FRA cars.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Next
one is I mean one's like in a Pennsylvania paint scheme, but it's FRA.
I wonder if this is something actually be done by Amtrak, because the Bnsf business car is here too.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a requirement that Amtrak has once in a while that they have to use the
Perhaps.
FRA. Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if that car was specially built. You know, it has such interesting glass and reminds me of a
the
car.
high top to it.
The southern or Seaboard had some cars that sort of look like that. In fact, there's one that still runs around in the private car fleet that's kind of a similar looking model, but I don't know much about this one.
Sure.
Looks like a pretty nice business train.
Yeah, I believe this is the BNSF business train.
Right.
And again, they got the nice shiny.
Yeah, power looks good.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll see a camera mounted, you know, where the crew can do that. I wrote a trip one time that had a camera mounted, and they were playing all through the train the shot that the engineer was seeing, and they ended up having to turn it off because they had several times where there was some real near misses at crossings that it was freaking everybody out on the train. So they turned the camera off.
I wonder if this was one of the just thinking of the time frame when some of these photos came from. I wonder if this was the Warren Buffett special that they ran right before Berkshire Hathaway purchased.
I don't know,
but
hard to say. The business trains, they do inspection trains.
Well, right, they run around all
annually,
the time,
but I'm not sure. Hard to say.
Yep.
Oh, Thurwell. Okay, so this is underneath the overpass by the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is a slug set. You can see the bee there.
Yep.
Trimming something out.
We got this is an ABA set of SD40s. Yeah. I mean,
little different vintages of the 40s between the radiators. You can tell they were built at different times, but yeah,
for sure.
Nice sunshot.
Here we have the Windmill Towers.
Yeah, so this is taken on the Santa Fe, the former Santa Fe, just west of town, at a place called GI. You can see to the left there's a set of, it looks like a Y, and that was the original interchange between the Burlington and the Santa Fe and Galesburg, before they built the
connection.
Cameron connection.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And we have the hubs.
Yeah.
So we got all our windmill parts now.
I would guess this came out of Fort Madison.
Yep. Oh, and there are the...
I can't remember they call those, where the power units are.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
The generator units.
Yeah,
but
it's got a name and I can't come up with it.
I can't either.
Yeah, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, quite a heavy set of cars. It's funny to me that, you think about the weight ratio of the wings versus something like this, and the order that they put the cars in seems strange to me.
Oh, I think those wings were probably on a separate train.
Oh, okay.
I would almost guarantee you, just by the length of the wings.
Sure. Okay.
And then they, to not see them, because they would have had to have run them on the rear of something
I would
like
think,
this.
Yeah. But we have to ask the NS how to handle light cars versus heavy cars.
I was watching the Bell Plane webcam a couple days ago, and there was a string of bare tables in the middle of it was loaded containers in the front, and it was loaded auto racks on the back.
Oh.
And they had a string of bare tables and a DP unit in the middle of this train. And
wow.
I could even, because I could hear the crew talking, I was like, who put this train together?
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah. So this Alstom, these guys make generators, I believe.
Okay. It looks like a generator set of some sort.
Mm-hmm. But another one of these...
I like those just press center cars. They're just so fascinating to think about how they handle all that.
Yep, the distribution of the weight over the extra axles. Yep. So, now this is the same as a one that we saw that was in BN green earlier.
Right. So
but it's dressed up a little nicer.
Yeah, this one looks a little bit nicer for sure. And it's again, it's just the slug part of the set.
Right. No exhaust.
Right.
No engine block.
But I think you can still run the set from this side too. I think the cabs are have the full control stand. You know. Oh, so this is obviously one of the inbound long distance trains, but the third unit's one of their at
Amtrak
that time,
Heritage.
4 Heritage units. I think there's more than that now, but
now if we look in the back here, we can see we're at B plant, where we saw A plant earlier.
yeah. So this is just to the left of the depot. You can see the fence that goes around the. There was like a Sunbeam plant next door, and this is prior to the. This is crossing Main Street. This is prior to the new bridge in Galesburg that has replaced all these crossings. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a 500 series. You know, the GEs, get around a little bit in this area, but they tended to stay after their initial introduction. They ran a lot on the Southwest Chief, and then they tended to stay in California for a long time. But this guy actually looks like he's leading.
It does.
So
it does.
Yeah, you don't see the 500s in this area very often. Another Oakway.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked them when they had silver trucks, but I just always thought I liked the blue when I create arguments, but I was the same way about the Great Northern too. I like that Great Northern blue. So,
yes.
Very cool.
You think about how common these used to be and how little you see of them now, honestly.
Right. Oh, the Ocean View. So this was one of the few. This was, I think, the last dome that Amtrak owned.
Full length dome.
Yeah,
yep.
That's right.
Yeah, but it would periodically make its way around the system on different.
Well, and they used to advertise that where they were going to run them. So they would say that this particular week it was going to run on the Illinois Zephyr, and this particular week it was going to run on some of the the Wolverine trains or whatever. So
yeah.
Now I don't know that this is still on the roster anymore. For some reason, I think I've heard that this is gone. So
it may be. Yeah. ES-44.
Yeah.
We're right at the Galesburg terminal here, or Galesburg Depot again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And there's our Sierra Hotel cars. A little better angle of them.
So obviously a special train.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's paying big money to run a special excursion, but yeah, very nice.
Take pictures and smoke cigars off the back deck.
Again,
looks like it.
Terrible way to spend the day.
Yeah. I mean, at least they're getting rained on, I guess.
Gets those dome windows clean.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like, based on kind of the sun angle, this is probably the California Zephyr, which came slightly earlier than the Southwest Chief, but I don't know for sure. They're identical now, but
yes,
I don't see anything unusual about the locomotives and their numbers. Just a nice sun angle for an afternoon train.
Yep.
So this is probably on the Quincy line. There's a plant out just a little bit south of town that gets the carbon. What am I trying to call that? For building tires. But so it's one of those cars with the carbon in them. So just making a switch move.
Yep. A caboose on the back too. Yeah. Obviously, don't
probably
see that too often.
Probably for a little backup move out there.
Yep.
Geez, there's a GE on the probably one of the Quincy trains.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what time it is. This is morning, so it's probably the Illinois Zephyr.
Yes.
So yeah.
But yeah, these things obviously got around a little bit.
Yeah, I liked them in their Pepsi can scheme, but this one isn't bad. I like the red stripe around the sill.
Mm-hmm.
Are these ingots here? Aluminum
I believe
ingots?
these are going to Alcoa.
Okay.
In Bettendorf.
Okay.
Yep. But yes, aluminum ingots.
Yeah. Very cool. Nice. I look at the way I like all the details with being with the ties on the cars and
to
nice,
protect the load.
Nice details.
Yes, it kind of gives you a sense of think about how many unique moves that we've seen.
Sure. So this is the New York Central Heritage Unit for the NS, and then the 1000's trailing. I'm not sure exactly where this shot is, however, but yeah, very nice.
It is kind of striking to me how similar the New York Central Heritage scheme, I say in quotes, is so similar to the current NS scheme, in fact.
I guess black is black.
Yes.
But, yeah, I always think about with the New York Central, or I should say with the NS Heritage units, it's kind of cool in this area that we've been able to see a lot of them on the CN and a few on the UP, and even the Iowa Interstate, of course, has run a lot of them. So.
Well, you can see it's on an ethanol train here. That's how they seem to get around this area.
Yeah. So this is probably based on the angle. This is the Carl Sandburg coming into town, which would be like a 10 or 11 o'clock arrival, but the sun's to the east. Mm-hmm. So it looks like they're.
And you can see they're building over here
for the third track. I think because they put the third track back in. So.
Yep.
Yeah, very nice. Wow, an old bathtub or thrall gone, or thrall hopper, I should say.
Yes.
EMTY.
Full BN lettering.
Yeah.
And something a little newer here.
Yeah. I'm glad, people should take freight car photos. Digital film is a heck of a lot cheaper than slide film. So
yes.
Shoot car photos, because in 20 or 30 more years we'll be so glad we did. Old ones and new ones.
Absolutely.
So where is this?
Well, when these tracks went in, I believe this is the US 34 overpass.
I don't recognize what this.
Or excuse me, not US 34. What's the Interstate 74?
I have not seen these particular tracks. I don't know where this is. Okay, maybe
Interstate 74.
Okay,
going over top of, which goes south out of the Quad Cities.
Sure. I know where that is, but I don't recognize this as being in the Galesburg area at all. I can't picture where this is. Put in the comments if you know where this is. It's crazy that I don't recognize it. So.
Yeah, I think that this is all brand new, because I saw this a couple of times making trips into southern Illinois.
Okay.
A couple of years ago.
All right.
But yes, I believe that this guy would be.
Do you feel like he's a westbound train? Just the angle of 74 doesn't look right to me at all, or 30.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's 34 somewhere else. Anyway, okay, cool.
I think, yeah.
Another shot of the initiative. Oh, this is an over-under. This is an eastbound train on the former Santa Fe at the somewhere around the Whitesboro Street crossing. You can see there's a BN going over the top.
Yep.
I don't see those wedge containers anymore. I don't know if the UP's not doing that any further, but.
Yeah, it was very popular for a while, and now
I haven't seen
they've kind of gotten away from it. So this is a UP haulage rights train.
Correct. Yeah.
Going down to change crews at Fort Madison.
Well, this would be an eastbound train. So he's come out of Fort Madison.
Right.
So he's on his way in.
Headed east. Yep.
Yeah.
So. We're at Stewart here.
Okay.
Yep. But chasing the
New York Central.
Yep.
Yeah. Very good. Kind of a ballast extra.
Mm-hmm. All system hoppers, it looks like.
Power on each end.
Yep, dumping ballast. Here's our cover photo.
This is the guy that's coming off the Quincy line. I'm sorry, coming off the line to Peoria.
Yes.
So, yeah, that 2911 is kind of an unusual scheme. There was not a lot of those.
Yeah, the white background with the green lettering and yes.
Here's another shot on the former Santa Fe. This guy looks like he's.
This is another over/under shot.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just trying to. It looks like this is an eastbound train here, so we're kind of on the complete opposite side of where Peck Park is. Mm-hmm. So.
A barn.
Yeah.
Yes, the CN barn, making its way down through Galesburg apparently.
Kind of cool units. So here's the Penn Central Heritage Unit Not sure where he shot this. I don't recognize the exact location, but
No. But potentially leading another ethanol train if that's a buffer car
right
on the head end.
GP38.
Yep.
Nothing appears to be super unusual about it, but nice roster shot. Larry took a lot of roster shots, of course.
I couldn't resist throwing this one in.
Sure, of course.
Yes, the DM&E 6074, and I believe that's a CP 5853, but they're both SD40s.
Sure. Some of the things I look at, of course, is the bell up above is gone now. But I was looking at the scrapings underneath the cab door. I wonder what had been on that so long that it scraped back and forth, if they had some kind of a strange lock.
They would use switch stand locks.
Oh, so
they'd use switch stand locks to lock up the locomotive cabs.
So that's just a scrape that's long then. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Very faded, but you can still tell.
Yeah.
It started out as a Santa Fe unit, and this 512, we've seen it in other photos also. There it is leading.
Nice colorful consist.
It is. Every combination of BNSF. We've got Santa Fe, we've got BN, and we've got BNSF here.
There you go.
We have a Ferromex.
Yeah, looks like an Oakway next to it also.
These are, I wonder if this is a new delivery. I wonder if this is on its way.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I mean, it does look a little bit faded, probably.
I don't know. I think those went around as leasers, too. It seems like you can see Ferromex units on the BNSF quite a bit. So.
That could be.
Oh. I've never seen one painted white. There must be some...
Yeah. It's got quite the grappling apparatus there on the front end, too.
I wouldn't want to mess with that.
No kidding. Yep.
So again, this is probably another one of those Quincy trains. The lounge car is what continues to throw me off. So.
But it must have been running around in a set for a while because you see it in the same spot each time.
Right. Looks like the...
Yeah, so these single levels...
Probably the Carl Sandburg, out at the edge of town. I think all these signal bridges are gone now.
Yeah, I think a lot of them have been replaced. Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to the locomotive number, but is it the same train? It doesn't matter. I just looks like that morning.
Back over at B plant on this one, but with new signals. If you look at the Darth Vader style hoods on the signals now, so we've seen some signal upgrades.
Now, what's interesting about this is that this is over on the what I would call the passenger main. So what he's doing over there, I have no idea, but you can see that he's clearly not going anywhere towards Quincy.
Right. Academy plant.
Maybe they were doing some. Maybe they're turning it around. Maybe for some reason the train was annulled in Galesburg, and so he's backing around the Y here.
Oh, could be.
I don't know. Huh. I'd like to know more about this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there's all these little abbreviated trains. I don't.
Single unit, 4 coaches, bi-levels.
Right.
Yep. Big power move here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm assuming he's running around somebody going in the same direction right here.
I'm thinking that it's probably south of town, south of Saluda or someplace. I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly where the angle is.
Another Jeep.
Yeah.
Was this this one would have been one of the NP Jeeps that they...
No, I'm thinking I don't know if it was a former Frisco possibly with the light in the...
Oh, yes.
In
the nose there.
Nose.
Yeah.
Another one of those inspection trains. They obviously hang over there quite a bit. Oops.
Yes. Somebody had a boo-boo here.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're looking at a Milwaukee Road drumhead.
Yeah, so again, some cars added to the rear of one of the outbound trains. This is eastbound. Lots of domes. That's really great.
Well, I think those are those Sierra Hotel cars again.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Another one of the UP on the former Santa Fe.
Yep. You can really see the contour of the land there.
Milepost 182.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a nice variety of color.
Yes. On a mixed freight, but we've got quite the variety of
Nice.
straight NS power on this one.
That's good.
Some different examples of, we've got a standard cab in the front, we've got
EMD.
we've got a wide cab SD60 second,
Right.
is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then a GE third out.
Right. It's one of the Amtrak Heritage units, the 184.
And some more of the Caterpillar.
Yeah.
Flat
Nice
cars.
variety of consist here. I like the variety of colors and things. Very good.
Yes.
So is this the caboose that's maybe on display in Princeton?
I think so.
Okay.
It looks right for Princeton.
Yeah.
Yep. Former CB&Q.
Yes. International built caboose.
Mm-hmm.
So here's probably one of the Quincy trains, but it usually with 4 cars has 6 this time. So instead of the Superliners, it looks like they're running the...
Yes, but 6 single-level
Yeah,
passenger coaches.
right.
They would have been better off with 4 doubles. And we have our veterans unit borrowed from the NS today, but
Yeah.
running through. So this is going to be the end of our program. We're going to end right here as this. We're coming up to the 4th of July. It seems like a good spot.
Sure.
So thank you for your help announcing this today, Darren.
No
and we're certainly hoping that everyone is down enjoying Galesburg Railroad Days if you're able to. So we will be back in July with Bradley Grief, and he is going to be showing us some slides from Southern Iowa. So thank you for tuning in this month.
See you next time.